Hey everyone, Paul Finck here, the Maverick Millionaire, and this is Maverick Mondays. And we are here talking about, I posted it, who are you? Who am I? What is the knowingness around what we're talking about? How do we know who we are? How do we know what we're doing? What is your knowingness? Are you who you want to be? Hey, Don, welcome. This is the topic that we're talking about, and every single week we talk about how to do it different, how to create a different environment, how to create more in your life. We're talking about creating it the Maverick way, and to be a maverick means to be thinking a little bit differently, to be approaching things a little bit differently than you ever thought possible. Really coming at it with a totally different viewpoint so you can get totally different results. Wouldn't that make sense? And so I teach the counterintuitive thought processes that the high leaders teach, the highly successful, the people that are really the leaders, the doers and shakers in the world. They're the ones that we're talking about, and they're the ones that you absolutely, pleasure to see you too, Dom, absolutely want to mimic. You want to model the people that are doing it effectively. And one of the things that I've realized is that people that do it effectively, people that are highly successful, well, most of them have changed. They've evolved. They've created themselves to be the people that they want to be. They're the leaders. They didn't get born that way. They didn't, end up in kindergarten leading the pack. And story after story proves that. They weren't the number one in their class. They weren't the ones who were the movers and shakers early on in their life usually. It was only after the fact, only after their years of experience, only after they got into the game and they began to realize some of the things that I'm teaching here is when their success happened, their life happened, if you will. So wait a second, that means that they changed, that they actually stepped up and did something different, created themselves in a different light. Now you take that and you take that idea and you match it up with, no, I couldn't do that. That's not who I am. That's not me. Now, I hear this as a coach and a trainer. I train and coach people all around the world, and I hear a ton of great stories, and I create tons of success, and people around me just are inspired to do more. And every so often, there are people that get paused, stopped in their tracks because they say, no, I can't do that. It's not who I am. It's not like me. What does that mean? And that's really the question at hand here. That's the question for all of you. I want you to ask yourself, who are you? When did you decide? You see, that's what these people are saying when they're challenged, when it's shown, okay, the successful way to do something is counter to the way you've been acting or behaving most of your life up to this point. That would be a given. You see, I know everything I want is in a place I've never been. To get what I want out of life means to shift, change. It means to do things different than I've done them in the past to create a new future. So now that means I've got to shift and change who I have been to create the new life. When you say that's not who I am, that's not like me, you're saying you want to hold on to the results that you're getting now. Yes, the results that you're getting now are an absolute result of what you say, what you think, what you do, how you act. You cannot separate the two. So when you say that's not like me, I won't act that way because that's not who I am, you're saying that you're going to stay stuck. You're going to stay with the results that you've been getting, and you're satisfied with that. And then you go, no, I'm not satisfied with that, but I don't think I've got to change who I am to create that success. That's where the challenge comes in. You see, when did you decide who you were? I want you to really get this. Somewhere along the way, you decided that's who you were. That's how you were going to show up for the rest of your life. Did you decide that when you were, I don't know, when you were 20, 25? No. I've been like this for a while. Oh, you mean like when you were 10, 5? How about 3 years old? Maybe you decided who you were when you were still in the womb, and you haven't changed since. How does that set with you? Is that what we're saying? That there is no shifting and changing, that your mindset, that who you are, your complete personality and everything that will ever be is fixed when you're born. You know what's amazing is that when I tell people that they can change, and I speak to people that didn't have the same privileges I might have had. I speak to people in inner cities that may not have the same access to resources, if you will. I speak to underprivileged all over the world. Spoke to in South Africa and some of the challenges that they were having in their economy and still are, some of the components thereof. How do I tell those people, no, you're not able to change and you're not able to do anything about your environment. You're stuck. You're just the way you will be forever. Is that really the message that we want to deliver? I deliver a different message. I deliver you can be anything that you want to be. Think it, it can be. So if you can think it and it can be, it means you've got to change and you have the ability to change. Hey, Christine, pleasure. We're talking about who you are, who you want to be. When did you decide that what you are right now is the absolute, the end all to be all? It's where you're going to stay for the rest of your life. I know all my students, they change every day. It's amazing to watch the shifts and changes because they decided that they wanted something different and they're willing to take the risk, willing to take the leaps of faith to get to the other side. That's profound. When I hear people say that's not who I am, I just ask, when did you decide? Can you imagine your whole life was decided when you were 3 years old? How about everything that you're going to get, all the results you're going to get, your financial standing in the world, your social economic status was decided when you were 5? How about 7? I know for sure my life began somewhere around my 30th birthday. Before then, I hadn't really figured out who I was, and it wasn't until 40 that I really stepped up and put it all into gear. Can you imagine if I had decided 30 years ago, that's who I was going to be? How about 40? That's who I was going to be. Nobody else. My personality wasn't able to be shifted or changed up, wasn't able to be molded in any way, shape, or form. I was fixed. Imagine where I would be or where I wouldn't be. I certainly wouldn't be here with all of you. I wouldn't be known as the Maverick Millionaire because none of this would have happened. Dare to take the chance that on you. Dare to think you can be somebody different. Dare to think that you can accomplish more than you ever imagined by doing things different, showing up in a different way, your presence being felt differently by the ones around you. All of this is possible when you begin to realize that who you are is by your own definition. You get to decide who you are. And it's not a decision you need to stick to. You get to change your mind any second of any day. Oh my gosh, now where am I going with this? That's right. Imagine this. Every day, every second, you can decide to be somebody different. You could decide to be, I don't know, mean and aggressive. You could decide to be nice and passionate. You could decide to be totally grateful or totally greedy. It's up to you. Any given moment, you could decide something different. You see, all of this is your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own words, your own actions, all of which are in your complete control. That's right. Everything that you think, everything that you say, everything that you do is in your complete control. Well, when it's in your complete control, don't you believe that you could control it to be whatever you want? It's in your complete control, and you get to decide what you want to be at that moment. Now, most of us won't go through that headache, if you will. We won't go through that effort in changing us up every single moment of every day just because. We'll decide that's who we want to be. And for me, that decision had everything to do with effectiveness. What was going to really create effectiveness in my world? Effectiveness to bring me joy, happiness, effectiveness to bring me abundance in all ways possible, effectiveness to bring me all the things that I really wanted in my life. That's what my behavior dictates. That's what my thoughts dictate, because my thoughts dictate my behavior. That's what my belief systems dictate, because my belief systems dictate, my thoughts dictate my behavior. All these things are interconnected, and I can control them. I can decide to be happy, passionate. I can decide to go for it. I can decide to take the leap of faith every single day. I can decide to be just outgoing and absolutely enjoy moments like this in front of the camera. Or I could decide to have stayed where I was. 10 years ago, there's no way I would be having this speech. There's no way I would be having this conversation. There's no way I would be here live in front of the camera. That wasn't who I was. Then I decided to shift. I decided to change. I decided to love this. And then I did. Who are you? Who do you want to be? What do you base that around? I challenge you, consider the possibility of creating whoever you want, creating a whole new persona, creating a being that is exactly who you want, and then just step into that skin, if you will, like a new suit. You have the power to be able to do that. Years ago, I did test with this. I played with it. I didn't quite step into the power that I have over the last 10, 15 years, only way back when. I remember I was going to college, and when I was in high school, I was, well, a little bit shyer than I wanted to be. I didn't talk out in class. I was really nervous, and for most of you that have heard my presentation and talk about speaking in general, man, even 12 years ago, I was still scared to death to be up on stage. Now it's one of my most comfortable places in the world to be. However, so way back when, you can imagine, when I was in high school, I didn't speak out, I didn't speak up, I didn't raise my hand, I wasn't a leader in any way, shape, or form. I hid in the shadows, and I stayed to myself. I had my little niche of friends, and that was it. And I wasn't real outgoing. With them, with my closest friends, oh sure. Only outside of that, no, nothing. Barely talked to my teachers, barely spoke out loud, barely took any leadership role whatsoever, just stayed in the shadows. Now I'm entering college. I decided I wanted to be somebody different. I realized that I was going into a whole new environment. They didn't know me. They didn't know who I was supposed to be. And so I decided to be somebody different. I decided to be a person that was a little more outgoing, a little more aggressive, if you will. And this was a mental decision. And so then I had to create a physicality around it. For me, what did that look like? Well, if I was going to be outgoing, it meant I could go up and hug people. And so I dedicated to hug everybody, especially girls. Remember, I was in college. So from day one, I dedicated, I'm going to meet as many girls on campus as possible, and I'm going to hug every single one of them when I meet them. Now, that seemed really good idea. It seemed like it would get me out of my comfort zone. It was an action I could check off and say, yes, I had done it, so that it wasn't something that was subjective. It was really objective. They could say, did you hug the girl? Yes. Okay. Then you were acting out what you wanted. So all that was step-by-step process, and it made sense. Unfortunately, not all the girls took it in the way it was meant. Most of them were pretty good about it. However, there were a few, well, let's just say boyfriends that weren't exactly really keen on the whole process. So you can imagine this caused a little bit of angst. However, it did help me get out of my comfort zone and move me to another level. Again, who was I? I was somebody different than I decided to be. And so instead of getting stuck in the definition of who I was, I created a whole new definition and then stepped into it. That's power. That's what each and every one of you has the ability to do. Decide who you want to be and step into that power. Step into that space. I want you to get this message so profoundly, because it is the foundation for everything else that you want. Because everything that you want is in a place that you've never been. Everything that you're going after is just beyond your comfort zone, just beyond where you've ever dared to exist. And your personality, how you're showing up, your presence when you're with other people is what dictates the rest of that story. It's your destiny. So decide to be that person that'll create the destiny you really want. Decide to be something different. It is key. It is the message that'll deliver the success to you, deliver the abundance. So every step of the way, now, is this a process that you only do once? Is this a process that only, this one moment, this one piece of my personality, that's what I'll shift and then I'm done. I'm good. I guarantee you it's an ongoing process. It's a continuous component that you're going to be touching on over and over and over again. I'm constantly looking at, how could I shift up? How can I change? What is it that is keeping me from reaching my fullest potential? How do I need to just counterintuitively move that to another space, another time, another dimension to move me to everything that I want? There's always a growth. There's always another shift to be happening. Be looking for it and be willing to change. At my boot camp and the foundation of everything that we're doing, we've got one coming up real soon, so be looking for it. If you go to paulsevents.com, and you'll see the list of all the dates of what's coming up all around the country. So in that boot camp, I talk about shifting and changing, and I talk about the master program is to change. Your willingness to change will dictate where your results show up. It'll dictate the level of results that you get. It'll dictate your destiny. Be willing to shift, be willing to change to create everything that you want in your life. Thank you so much for being here and for enjoying these moments with us. Week after week, I come forward with a message, and a message of what you're doing that you could shift or change, what could create more abundance in your world, how to bring that do a different mentality into your life, and really how to create your maverick success in your world. This is what we do here at the Maverick Mondays Facebook Live. It's what we do every single week. So come join us, come hang out. Absolutely subscribe to my YouTube channel to make sure you don't miss a thing about what we're doing, and make sure to friend me with my professional page, Paul Finck Professional. Just look up the Maverick Millionaire and you'll find me everywhere. All these things are real important. And go ahead and comment below. Comment about what you're thinking right now. Comment about who you believe you are, and more precisely, are you willing to change? And what are you looking to change to? What is it that, if you had to take a really close look at your life, really close look at how you show up, what would be one thing, just one component in your personality, in your thought processes, that you would want to shift and change, that you know when you did, you could create so much more in your life? Consider that you could change easier than you ever thought, and that one shift could bring all that abundance. Wouldn't the journey be worth it? Who are you? When did you decide? What knowingness are you basing this all on? These are key questions for your future, and it'll dictate where you end up. Absolutely continue to comment below on all the videos that we do on Facebook Live. I look at them, go back and look at the comments, and really share even more depth for those people that are commenting, that are interested, and connect more deeply with you. So keep commenting below, keep making it happen. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Paul Finck, the Maverick Millionaire. Till next time, everyone.